Peace, fam. How are you? Hope all is well with you guys. Checking in. So, I'm still like, you know what, you guys? I'm telling you, like, the way I was sick, right? It wasn't like, it was a new, it was, I was sick, but like the way it lingered, you know what I mean? Until I really got myself 100%. Was just like the warning, right, of what's to come. I'm telling you, because it has not gotten cold yet, right? And we really haven't gotten into the fall season, right? So people getting ready to be around here catching colds like crazy. I was going out buying hand sanitizer, the wipes. I found some wipes. I found some real Clorox bleach, things of that nature. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, if we want to make it through this thing, healthy and happy, we gotta be conscious about what's about to take place here, because this is round two of the pandemic, right? The second wave was the notorious wave, right? Hoping doesn't happen, but I'm telling you, every knee is going to bow and every tongue is going to confess. It is what it is, right? So these things are just taking place in America, and then it's very interesting, but it's like things that we already knew was going to happen. We just didn't know when, how, what, where, why. Uh, but it was coming. See, a lot of people have been out here, right, working right alongside the devil, right? See, today I really don't want to talk about white devils, right? Because a devil is not just something natural, it also is something that is made 100% weak and wicked, right? So you got a lot of black devils amongst us, right? And you have to know how to spot and identify these type of made devils in beings, right? Because the father of the devil was black man. Are we correct about that? If we want to go there, we can go into any science, mathematics, or whatever. This is like a lot of times when I be seeing like other people be saying that they can trace their roots and their lineage and things of that nature, right? And then I just have to sit back like, but we got the mind of God. When you get to them 99 attributes, you're going to get to us. Nobody has the greatest ritual, sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, humbleness, patience, right, than us, right? I look at it because I look at like being in a nation of 5%, right? I used to do the knowledge like when I first got 120 because I'm from Delaware, right? So Delaware is like a black American state, and if I'm not really here, I'm in the South, which is black American. But I always went to New York, but there was something different when I went to a law school, right? And that difference is because when I did the knowledge to 120, right? When I manifested and mastered 120 within myself, right? That was before I even went to a show and proof. But when I got to there, and then I just started studying and examining um, what was taking place, right? Uh, it made me even more, it put me on a level of consciousness that was even more higher than what other people within that cipher was actually seeing. And that was the great takeover, right? Because when you look at New York is like called the golden door of immigrants, right? It's the golden door of immigrants from near and far. A lot of people, when they come to America, first place they want to go is New York, right? So I was just doing the knowledge, like, wow, wow, wow. Like people's like, this is a earth, this is a God, this is the rich. But I'm looking at like science, mathematics, and doing the knowledge. I understand shades, and I also understand the process of crafting and making devil, right? So I just was doing it now. It's like, wow, this is mind-boggling about who is the original man here and black woman, right? It was just mind-boggling, and it's not that I'm not used to foreigners. It's not that. It's just a simple fact that, especially now, as we've gotten so deep into 120, right? So now looking at how this all played out, right? Like the end game. So I just look at like I admire Bumpy Johnson, right? Because Bumpy Johnson held Harlem down, and Harlem was called the Black Renaissance, right? And then when I was going up there, Bill Clinton was moving up there, and then they start calling it Spanish Harlem, right? So I just kept doing it now, doing it now, doing it now. So I was like, you know what? People are coming amongst us, right? Not all, but some, right? And they'll get the lessons, right? Because Allah was a 100% uh, Danville, Virginia, uh, Black American, right? So then I was looking at like it was a process of getting all of the regions together here near and far, right? And then I was noticing like our brothers and sisters was coming from the South, they were coming from Cali, they were just coming from all over. Everybody was united. But what I was doing the knowledge to was like it was like you had people in there that was not even, you know what I mean, nowhere in the 120 lessons, just doing all kind of shit, right? Uh, and it wasn't righteous. It wasn't right and exact. But they were still accepted amongst uh, the few, right? But then you had people who were really loving all those mathematics that was being real shunned. Black Americans being shunned from the nation. I was just sitting back watching, like, wow, I can't make it up. But I did a lot of studying with that, right? And like looking at hip hop, and now what hip hop has come to be. It's just amazing. So I get all of that to say the 120 lessons that was given, right, to us in the wilderness of North America, right, is supposed to be lived out. And if you live them out, you're going to see everything in that roadmap, right? You see things for what they are and not what they appear to be. I'm telling you. I just see so much mind blowing shit, uh, especially in the age of computers, things of that nature. Like, y'all been a lot of them just been playing, and then like they really wasn't conscious. They were out there like supposed to be righteous, but then they were out there doing the devil's bid. right? We should have been further than this. We should have been when they say, oh, the devil is attacking us. We are supposed to already have our defense mechanism up and running, right? But so many fell asleep at the wheel. And see, it didn't just happen in politics, it happened in hip hop, it happened in media, it happened in schools, it happened in the prisons, you name it. It was just a flood, right, of mass immigration going on in this country. And a lot of us really didn't understand because there were a lot of people coming in this country that looked just like us. And then, you had sisters that were having babies by a lot of foreigners. And then, they'll get on social media and say bastard baby moms. But a lot of these sisters, especially in the city, got babies by foreigners. And then when those foreigners had sex with them and had those babies, they probably got deported or just said fuck it and left, right? It is what it is, right? I remember back when a lot of my friends in the city, they were like getting paid like $5,000 for niggas with green cards, but they was ending up pregnant, right? It was ending up pregnant, and then you had all of those seeds coming out here in like the 90s. And for a long time, we have been hoodwinked as Black Americans, foundational Americans, uh, ADOS, B1. We've been hoodwinked. And then it's like the devil had a lot of help. That's all I'm going to keep saying about that. The devil had a lot of help. And a lot of it came from foreigners, right? Who came here, who looked like us, who act like us, who dress like us, who sing like us, who dance like us, but the whole time is saying like, you have no culture. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. And then it's like a majority of us, we be cultured the fuck down, more than them. You gotta remember like being righteous, right? When you're righteous and you wear the uniform of God, right? When hate to see you coming, they really hate to see you coming, right? A devil, anyway, devil, and listen. I could sniff them out like vampires, right? No matter the color. So bottom line too with that is like I just feel as though a devil is just not a white person, right? A devil is something naturally made 100% weak and wicked. So just because people will sit around and agree with you and let you, act like you're the greatest, that's fine. But if they doing this, but at the same time they're making a profit off of it, meanwhile you're suffering, uh, got a whole lot. You gotta see what's up with this, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of Black Americans have fell asleep at the wheel, and they have allowed foreigners, right, amongst them, right? And it wasn't really for like unity. It wasn't for unity. It was because they just got here. They don't know the land, so they need to cling onto someone who knows the land. After all, your ancestors been here for 400 plus years, right? It's just like a great awakening, right? because we've allowed people from near and far to come here and influence. It's not that they influenced. The thing was that they came here and blended in with us, right? But then when they weren't amongst us, they were amongst other people. And they, oh, I'm not no black American, no, it's black Americans and all this shit, right? Pardon me. Pardon me. I have this last name. Anyway, you know, that, that within itself, was our worst mistake. Our worst mistake was allowing people from near and far, right, to penetrate our communities. And then, like my God always say, there's no such thing as the black community, which he has a point, right? At one time, there was such thing as a black community, right? But then we fell asleep at the wheel, so we allowed these black-looking people, as our sisters say, come amongst us and pretend to be us. Meanwhile, they only use us to rise to the top, only to get closer to white supremacy. We're getting somewhere, aren't we? White supremacy. Look at the music industry. Look at the basketball players, politicians. We're gonna change it though. We're gonna change it though. We're gonna rebrand ourselves. I'm still working on the rebranding thing. I just had to get this off of my mental, right? And it's no malice, right? Because I have brothers and sisters whom I love dearly. That's God's and that's Earth's, right? Of different nationalities, right? But A alike, B alike, because we see alike, right? And if I can't see you, right, for who and what you are and not what you appear to be, then I can't really fuck with that, right? So I just got to keep it moving. That's how I've always moved, though. A lot of people be like, oh, I know her. This, I probably see this motherfucker for about 20 years, and they be like, oh, I know. No, you don't. I wrote by myself. I've been this way for a long time. And the whole time I was just getting knowledge and I was going places, exploring, and trying to figure out what was my purpose, right? At this point. You know, I'm fresh out of college. See, a lot of people been to college 20, 30 years ago. I'm fresh out of college. I had to stop. I was going to go for my doctorate, but then I said I needed a break. I was in there for like 8.5 years. I wouldn't stop. But I was processing so much information, right? So that when something like this happened, right, I felt kind of comfortable knowing where I sit and what position that I'm in the position that I'm in right now, right? Because I never sold my soul. I never looked at favoritism. Always dealt with equality. I treat people the same way they treat me. But when I see the injustice, especially done to my own, right, I got a problem with it. I don't care if that's from our own, those that's not us. It doesn't matter, right? It really don't matter. But I'm telling you, we're going to rebrand ourselves. It's coming. And this time, right? When we build a black community, because that's what it's all about, right? Uh, Remember, we had something called the Green Book, right? I think the writers, right? Because I write too. I can write. I can write. I asshole. I will write. If I start writing, I could be writing for hours, right? But I think like our writers should start doing things like writing manuals, coded manuals, right? Um, for us to go by certain code. You off that code, keep it moving, right? Identify yourself, and it just can't be because you black, right? Because we're looking for the soul. When you're looking for the skin, right? See, that's the problem too. A lot of people try to trick us, right? But you can't trick us because we don't see skin. We see souls, right? And we don't like when we're dealing with the wicked, right? They have planted themselves amongst us, right? Everywhere. It's kind of, it's not, this is the thing. I've always saw this shit the way it actually is now, but getting up to this level and just watching it all unfold, right? Um, from near and far, right? It's amazing. It's really amazing. But we know what we were promised, right? And when you look at the 120, it tells you when those lessons were sent to the wilderness of North America, right? It was not sent to nowhere else on this planet, right? It was a letter addressed to those in the wilderness of North America. Bottom line, right? But other people were always welcome to come and add on, right? To the gods and earths in the wilderness of North America's culture, right? But they didn't want to do that. A lot of them didn't want to do that. They came and they just started adding things to our culture. Next thing you know, you wake up and you're like, "Where's culture? Who is this? You got this, but you gonna do something else on top of that." And it's it's. I did this one tonight because I thought like I want my brothers and sisters to understand they're not alone watching how all of this unfolds before our eyes, right? And some of us don't know how to cope with it, right? And some do, some just don't, right? So uh, it's our job, mission, and duty, right? To teach all how to be all wise and civilized at all times, no matter the circumstances that awaits us, right? So, like I said, 120 lessons was actually, where you can look at it, even though they be grafting our mathematics and changing them up, doing all this crazy stuff, right? But all of that it says the wilderness of North America, and we also distinguished, right? We had 17, right, million Indians, right? So we distinguished that uh, away from those in the wilderness of North America. God's had honchos, right? That was 17 plus 2 million, I guess. I don't know. Something like that. My lessons come and go in my head. You know why? Because I'm in my what's called free ciphers now. I literally just live this out every day. It's so easy for me to do, right? It's like getting up, putting on my clothes in the morning, washing my face, brushing my teeth, right? That's how I live out these mathematics. I don't get a break from this, right? But some people, they chose to take mathematics and do what the fuck they want to do, and they already understand what happens when you uh, uh, play with high explosives. Bottom line. Can't make it up. In the way they set up these illusions, right? It just looks real ridiculous. Now, listen, now that black Americans, right, or black people all over the world, because I'm going to get to that too, right? Black people all around the world are awakening, right? It just looks ridiculous. It's like, here we go, here's my mathematicians. Check it out, right? It's just like all these variables, right? So you want them to stop because there's so many variables. You want to separate these variables and see what uh, is the root relationship between these variables. We can go from A to Z, right? But we're going to just go A, B, C. So comparing and contrasting these variables, these people, right? Comparing and contrasting these variables, these people. And you draw up a chart, you draw up a graph, and you you're looking now, right? You're looking like, okay, so Trump is one variable, Republican, right? And Democrats is the other variable, right? We know the relationship between the two is racism, right? And then there's some outliers, right? What's these little things out here, right? I call them the instigators. Like, you just messed up the whole fucking chart. But it is what it is because I got to keep an eye on you until I can just X you all the way out, right? That's how it is with the foreigners. And I'm not going to say all foreigners. I'm just talking about those who come here and create mischief um, through these lands, right? And those who come here to work on the side of white supremacy, right? In blackface, we see you not. And this is the thing. We've been saying this forever, but now that I look at Africa, right? I watched the show, and it's this brother on there. His name is Mupanga or Mupango, Mupanga, right? He's from Zimbabwe. Yo, when he speaks, it's like when a wise man speaks, a wise person listens. When you listen to him, right, and see how he see this thing sitting in Africa, watching what we're up against, right? We know we got to use, right, what this war has already been about, and that's our spirituality, as some people call it, right? But at the highest level, it's our intelligence, right? It's really our mindset that's going to um, make us victorious with this final battle between God and devil, because that's all it is. This has always been a spiritual uh, thing, right? I remember my uncle used to listen to this song, and it was he used to say, "It ain't no grave that's gonna hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, I'm coming up out of that ground because ain't no grave gonna hold my body down, right? And when I used to listen to that, it's only when I got older and started putting things together that I understand that even with that song, and when you look at the Bible when it talks about resurrection, a lot of people thought that was a physical death, but that wasn't a physical death. It's a rebirth of the mindset, right? Because that's what's going on here now. It's a, I said it from the beginning. A lot of people was like, "Ain't no reset." Oh yeah, it's a reset. We're going into a whole other age. Aquarius. This is the last. We're at we're at 11 o'clock, right? We're at the 11th hour. Next year is midnight, right? I'm just saying that because it's about to be an election, right? And now everybody is sitting here like one of these people are going to save America, right? When that's not going to happen. You don't understand, like, people are really out here prepping for the worst because it doesn't matter who's the president. The tension is so high in this country, not only between racism, which was made up by both the left and the right side, because they really showed all Americans they don't give a fuck about us. If you don't think so, look at the pandemic, right? Part and stuff. With all of that, right? We got to be smart. We got to be wise in our decisions moving forward. Um, like I said, I don't care who becomes president. They're not going to stop what's getting ready to take place here. We all know that, right? Because if you do get pardon some, if you do get laughing, if you do get Biden for president, I'm just going to tell you right now, right? Because a lot of, unless they call martial law and keep everybody in the house, because Biden might, I'm telling you, if one thing is for sure, military, if the Democrats get in the chair, military going to be on the ground like yesterday. Americans know that, right? And then you going to come talking about taking guns and shit. Americans know that, right? If you want to really know why Americans ain't really fucking with y'all like that, right? Because we know what happened during Martin Luther King. My mother and my father and my uncles and, you know, family and shit was out there setting this shit on fire. They was under martial law for 9 months, almost, no, a year. My mom said, I keep saying 9. My mom said, no, it was a year or more. And see, this is this is a thing. I During the Civil War, America wasn't built the way this. Everything that you see now, my ancestors or our ancestors built this right after slavery and right after the Civil War. Okay, that's when this was being built and when they were slaves, right? So what I'm saying that to say this because even like because my father, right, helped build downtown Houston. My father retired. Well, as a matter of fact, he fell on the ship, right, and broke his hip. But he worked for George Bush drilling oil in Houston since I was 9. He was drilling oil and helping build Houston. And I say that because now I'm looking at, I'll get between, because my uncles, I'll say like the beginning of the 90s, right? We had already built all that shit. We had built all of that shit before a lot. Like a lot of people got to this country. So Texas don't look like how Texas looked when there were slaves, or Civil War. California don't look like how it looked during the Wild Wild West, right? Chicago don't look the same way it looked during the era of Capone. New York doesn't look the same as it looked during the gangs in New York. So what I'm saying is, uh, if you fuck around and you start a civil war in this country, because if you look now, I'm looking at Oregon. I think that's where it's at. These people are stuck in traffic. You can see the fire coming all down the side of the goddamn of the forest on fire. See, America owes a debt, right? And she's being very uh, stubborn about it, right? So I found it amazing that Donald Trump, MAGA, wanted to have a votes for Trump thing in the middle of, it was a lake in Gulf of Mexico, out in Texas, right? But they went out there and and the weather was nice, supposed to be nice that day, right? And they got in the water and a wave came out of Yemen, y'all. Get your ass out my water. Doosh, right? And she gave two of them to Ola Kun down at the bottom of the ocean, right? Just little, little phenomenons like that, right? And Oya hasn't even gotten started yet, right? I remember being in Hurricane Hugo, right? That was the end of September. I never want to be in a hurricane another day in my life, ever, right? But I understand there's a strong possibility now that those tornadoes have made their way up this coast and cleared a path for future shit like that, right? I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, America, yeah, I get it together. Get it together on the left and the right over there at Outliers and do the nice to us, right? Because you ain't gonna make it, so you do right by us, the real us. Yeah, I'm gonna get back with you guys on the rebranding, right? Because that's gonna be a heavy thing. But I just wanted to do that because I just want us to understand we have to identify these people amongst us, right? And no matter what they doing, we gotta look at them and do like our grandparents would say, Satan, we rebuke you. Okay? We definitely gotta do that. Too many have came in this country and brought their bad behavior with them. And as Black Americans, a lot of us did pick up on them, right? And what a mess it has made us when you look at us as a group. That's what happened. So a lot of times, like, they'd be like, "Oh, those black," you gotta remember, like Future, Kodak Black, what's his name? Uh, uh, People like that, right? Like, look at Cardi B, Bruno Mars, all this stuff. So they say, "Oh, Black Americans is savage." However, a lot of that stuff now ain't us. Amber Rose ain't us. Black China ain't us. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. It's not us. So, you know, The rebranding has to be done. There's no getting around that, right? And we're going to do it community by community. You know, it's not even a hard thing to do once we put our heads to it. Just do it, right? I want to get those thoughts out, right? Because, like I said, I want y'all to really study people, right? I really want you to like stop, look, listen, observe, right? And once you draw it up, say to yourself, uh, if it doesn't look and sound right, who sent you? Satan, we rebuke you. That's our best defense right about now, right? Until we build a greater defense, right? I'm going, you guys. I may come back, may not, right? But yeah, as brothers and sisters, we're gonna have to do this. I'm not saying, and this is another thing. I'm not angry, upset at foreigners because there's been brothers and sisters who've came here and added on tremendously, right? And we appreciate them much. But the ones that we sat back and did the knowledge, right, and looked at and saw, like they say, you use the laws of mathematics as a tool to get closer to white supremacy, right? To become Yakub's doctors, nurses, lawyers, cremators, ministers, rappers, singers, athletes, media, you name it, right? Y'all the ones we got problem with, okay? And those black Americans who harbor you, right? Got a problem with them too. We just want y'all to know we woke. We see y'all. Been saw you. We saw you, but you saw us not. Right? Part some. Okay, you guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna wrap it up. I may come back, may not. Like I said, we got some more things. I wanna go through the summary of what Pharaoh was saying, but I also want to wait to and come up with some other um, ideas as well. That being said, keep vibrations. Hi, you guys. Go with you soon. Peace.